Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to the Daily Check-in. This is Ned Bellavance, Ned1313 on Twitter. And today's topic is writing a book. Why would you do such a thing? That seems like a lot of work. That's what I want to talk about. But before I get into that, a few housekeeping things. Once again, the podcast is available on anchor.fm. So if you prefer this in an audio format as opposed to the visual format, you don't want to stare at my beautiful face, then that's fine. I won't be offended. Go over to anchor.fm/Ned-Bellavance and you can subscribe to the podcast there, or you can look for it in your favorite podcatcher. The only one it's not on yet is Apple for whatever reason. They're holding strong on not letting me in. It's whatever. I'll get it figured out. Anyway, so that's my only housekeeping item. I just wanted to remind you about the podcast and we can get into the topic. Before I do that, I want to check in with you. How are you? How are things going? It's Wednesday, hump day. Ooh, terrible terminology. The only reason I like that is because of the camel, but that is what's going on. As far as me, I did not sleep well last night. Too many things cranking in the old brain. I'm working on a lab box where I'm trying to set up vSphere 7 and I was, running into some nested ESXi issues. So that kept my brain cranking along and it became a little difficult to sleep. But, that's the price you pay for building a good lab. So that's how I'm doing today. We'll see how that lab works out tomorrow. And maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll do a daily check in about my vSphere 7 lab and what's going on there. I really want to get Kubernetes running, and well, there's just a lot of components involved there. But anyway, moving on to the topic of the day, I wanted to talk about writing a book. That's a thing people do. And it's something that I have done twice now. And I actually had a long conversation with somebody yesterday who had a lot of questions about the book writing process and especially around publishers. Should they even do it? Those kind of things. They're at the point where they're ready to consider writing the book. They just aren't sure if it's worthwhile. So, with that in mind, the first question you probably should ask yourself if you're thinking about writing a book is, why would you want to do such a thing? It is a pretty substantial commitment of time and energy. Now, there are a number of different reasons that I've sort of outlined in my brain. One is a resume builder. You are trying to get a new job or break into a new field, well, not a new field, but break into the next level for your career. And in your mind, being a published author of a book gives you the cachet that you might need to advance your career. Or if you're a consultant, you can literally be like, oh, well, I wrote the book on that. So that is one potential reason that you might want to publish a book. Second one is it's on your bucket list. Maybe you've just always wanted to write a book and you're very knowledgeable in a technical matter and you're like, I'm going to write a book about that so I can cross that off my bucket list. So it's not about building a resume, it's just about that satisfaction you get when you accomplish something that you've always wanted to try. Another reason is to just share knowledge. You care passionately and deeply about a topic and you want to share the knowledge that you've accumulated with the world. And the way that you think the best way to do that is through a book. Okay, all very good reasons. The last reason, and I got to this last because it's probably the most unlikely of all outcomes, is you want to make money. You're writing that book and you want to cash that check. You want to make that money. I will say, having a recurring stream of revenue from something that is royalties based, like a book, is great. But you need to publish something that enough people are going to care about long enough into the future that it continues to be that sustaining stream of income. And writing a book may not be one of those. So let's delve into the making money aspect of it. First of all, it's not very likely that any given book that you publish is going to be wildly successful. I know a fellow Pluralsight author of mine was saying that his very first book he published, he hit the gold mine and made like 100 grand on it. And it was a Cisco focused book. And because of what he wrote about, the way that he wrote it, and the demand for that topic at the time, it just all the stars aligned and he hit, a home run, whatever sports metaphor you want to use. He did it But then he wrote a second book and made virtually no money because it was luck of the draw. The first time it actually worked out, the second time it did not. So just kind of like bear that in mind. If you're planning to make money, you have to be lucky enough for all the stars to align. And it's not just about what you write, but when you write it, how you promote it, who sees that, and any other number of factors that you have no control over. It's sort of like being in a band, if I can make that analogy. There are thousands of bands playing in bars today, writing original songs and doing covers. Of those thousands of bands, there's going to be 10 that actually make it and will be famous enough that you know their names. And there might be 200 that can live entirely off of that money. The rest of those thousands of bands, they're still playing, they're having fun, but they're not going to make it in the big leagues, right? That's just the law of large numbers or whatever you want to call it. So making money is probably shouldn't be your primary motivation for writing a book. The next thing to think about is picking a topic, and a few things to go through there. Be passionate about whatever topic you are planning to write about for obvious reasons. If you're not passionate about what you're writing about, then that's going to come through in the writing. So don't write a book about a topic that you just think is going to be popular if you don't care about it. That doesn't make any sense. You also need to provide some new perspective about the thing you're writing about. It can't just be a litany of things about a particular topic with no personality. People want some personality in their book. One of the best books I read on a technical subject was Docker Deep Dive by Nigel Poulton. And part of the reason is he brings his unique personality and voice to the text, which makes it entertaining to read. Otherwise, it would have been a very dry read. So you have to bring that personality and perspective. The third thing I would say is you do not have to be an expert in that topic. You might think, oh, well, if I'm writing a book, I have to be the authority, the expert. You do have to be authoritative. You have to be correct in the things that you are saying, but it is okay to learn as you go. Part of writing a book is doing the research about the topic to know enough to write the book. You're not going to have that knowledge going in, at least most of the time you won't. As you write the book, you're going to be doing research and learning about your topic. So don't worry about not being an expert right now. You'll be an expert by the time you're done writing that book. Trust me. All right. So that is why you would write a book, what you're going to write about. The third thing that I want to address, and this was something that I got a lot of questions about yesterday, was publishing the book. You basically have two options. You can go with a traditional publisher, or you can choose to self-publish, and both have their pros and cons. So I just kind of want to go over those briefly so you have an understanding of why you might choose one over the other. The publisher does a lot of things for you. First of all, they provide structure. They have a process and people who have been doing this for years. They understand how to take an outline of a book and get it across the finish line to a published book. So you already have that baked in for you. That's awesome. The second thing is that they have editors. You may be a pretty decent writer, but you want your book to be reviewed by an editor who can help you tighten up your sentences, make sure that things are grammatically correct. So you want an editor to go through that, and you also want a technical reviewer to make sure that the things that you're putting in your book, and I'm assuming you're writing a technical book and you're watching this, you're probably interested in technical writing. You want a technical reviewer to review the content and make sure it's technically accurate. So generally speaking, the publisher can provide those or help you find those resources. They also bring a marketing platform. They may not do a ton of marketing for you, but they are going to do more marketing than you would do by yourself, most likely. And they have a built-in audience and platform. If you're going with a publishing company, they've already built up a level of trust with their readers. And they may even have a subscription service that readers read their published works through. You're not going to have that if you're self-publishing. At least you may already have a following, but you're borrowing their platform, basically. So that's a lot of good reasons to go with a publisher. Some of the less great reasons is mostly having to do with money. Generally speaking, the publisher takes a lot of money because they're providing you all of these services. So, generally speaking, your royalty is going to be maybe, and this is on the higher end, 15% of the purchase price of the book, if you're lucky. And that, if you say that out loud, you're like, okay, so if I charge $50 for my book, I get $7.50, maybe at the maximum. So if you're trying to make money off of a book, going with a publisher is going to make it that much more difficult. The other thing is if you write your book with co-authors, then that royalty usually gets split in like even portions to, or at least based off of what percentage of each of the book each author wrote. You have to bear that all in mind. Now, let's move over to self-publishing land, and I'm running a little long, so I'm going to try to get through this. With a self-publisher, you don't have an editor, you don't have a process, you don't have people helping you that work for the publisher who can provide guidance and introspection. They also, your publishing platform's probably not going to do a whole lot from a marketing standpoint. That marketing is all on you. You are now responsible for all of the things that the publisher is going to provide if you go with a formal publisher. What do you gain, though? What you gain is that self-publishers don't take a whole lot of money. If you publish through Leanpub, for instance, you get to keep 80% of the purchase price for your book. So again, going with that example of a $50 book, you're getting $40 out of that 50. That's a pretty good deal. And Amazon has their self-publish as well, and that you get 70% of what people pay. Again, not bad. So if you are looking into the self-publishing thing, just know it's going to be more work for you personally. You're going to have to source out all these different things, but you also stand to make more from a royalties perspective. All right, so that's everything I have to say about that topic. Quick plug at the end. I did just publish a book through Leanpub. I'm very happy with how it came out. It's a certification guide for the new HashiCorp Terraform Certified Associate exam. So that exam is not live yet, but it's going to be live shortly. So if you want to get the jump on things, go to leanpub/terraform-certified and you can find the book, or just search on Leanpub for Terraform and you'll find the book. It's on there. So I encourage you, if you're interested in Terraform or you just want to support me, I don't mind about that. I wrote it along with Aidan Ermey and we're very happy with how it came out. So I encourage you to check it out. And with that, thank you for watching today. Very much appreciated. I hope that you and your friends, family are staying healthy and staying safe in this time. And I will talk to you tomorrow.